Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is August 19th, 2024, and Ilkay Gundogan has agreed to leave the club. Also, Vitor Roque has greenlit an operation to Portugal. And finally, Lenglet is not ruling out staying in Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News live podcast, which is my favorite day. My podcast days are my favorite days, which are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only do I get to share Barcelona with you, but I also Barcelona news with you, but I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering your questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you who will be watching the live stream or the podcast once it ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion. Having said all of that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys, merchandise, whatever you want, make sure you hit the Goal Kit, Skip Bag, and Fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the Bet Us. All links are down below in the description. Now let's begin with the news, and today we'll begin with good news because Barcelona have announced a new source of income, yet another new source of income. If there's one thing that this board of directors does right, is create new sources of income, which the club does desperately need. But Barcelona have announced a new Barca Academy in Casablanca, Morocco. This is actually the second academy that Barcelona are opening in Morocco. The first one was in Rabat. And that academy was so successful that Barcelona have decided to open a second one in Morocco, this one in Casablanca. It is set to open doors in September, and Barcelona are expecting around 500 students between boys and girls. And this would make it the 28th academy that Barcelona have around the world. And you might ask, well, Mo, what do you mean new source of income? Well, it's a new source of income because you actually have to pay to participate in Barcelona's academies. For example, here in the US, if you want to participate in a Barcelona Academy, the tuition is $75,000 a year per student. You multiply that by 500 students, that's a lot of money. Now, of course, I imagine the prices are going to be different in Casablanca. Prices are always adjusted based on the country, but still, it's going to be a good, chunk of money that Barcelona will be able to make every year from their newest academy in Casablanca. And plus, it's not only a good source of income, this is a way for the club to, spot young talent, young emerging talent from different parts around the world. For example, Julian Araujo, he came up through one of the Barcelona academies, ended up signing for the MLS. Barcelona signed him, and then now they sold him for profit. So it's like a double purpose there, where not only do you get to make money off tuition, but you also get to keep a close eye on young emerging talent, whether it be, for you to keep or maybe for you to sell for profit. But good news on that front as the board of directors continues to generate new sources of income for the club, whether it be through sponsorships or now through our newest academy. All right, let's do the chat section. Then we will talk about Ilkay Gundogan in the huge news today that the Turkish-German midfielder has agreed to leave the club. All right, let's see. Josiah says, good evening, Mo. Gundogan leaving Barcelona will be a huge relief to the team. How do you feel about that? Watching from Monrovia, Liberia. Well, I don't think it will be a huge relief for the team. If anything, it will be a huge loss for the team because Gundogan was our best midfielder last season. He's an incredibly talented player. I mean, he was one of the pillars of Manchester City, one of the pillars of that sextuple that Manchester City won. So it'd be a huge loss for the team as far as players, but for the club, it would be a big relief given his high salary. But I will talk about that in a little bit more, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Now, Richard says, I just read that Lenglet is in advance to go to Atletico. I hope that's true. He needs to go. I'll talk about Lenglet in a little bit. So, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. And Mohammed says, Ferran Torres has an offer from Newcastle, so why doesn't Barca put some pressure on him like they did with Gundogan? Don't we still need to register players and save on his salary? I'll talk about Ferran in the next video, but I don't mean to break your heart, but it's fake news. Philip says, hi Mo, I have been a follower of Barca News, watching live for the first time from Zambia. All right, thank you, my friend, for joining and for your comment. And some random MF says, hi Mo, just got a chance to be in your live stream and I wanted to ask you, does Barca want to sell Ansu? If not, then will Flick continue to trust him fully by him continuing his special training? Barcelona do want to offload Ansu. It's not going to be a sale because, well, nobody's willing to pay his high salary, plus no one is willing to risk it on a injured player. So most likely it's going to be a loan. Where we'll see Benfica, they're saying Benfica might want to make a move during the final days of the market. There's also Sevilla. Sevilla have been trying to take Ansu Fati on loan the entire summer. Ansu was hesitant of going there. He prefers, a more competitive team. But his father, Ansu Fati's father, is very much in favor of Ansu going to Sevilla. Of course, Ansu did start out in Sevilla's academy. Then he moved to Barcelona's academy. His father has a house there in Sevilla. So Sevilla could be another option. But I don't think it'd be a permanent transfer. Most likely it will be on loan. And finally, Jerry says, hey, Mo, or Gary. Gary says, hey, Mo, greetings from Suriname, South America. All right. I think you're the first person from Suriname to comment. So welcome, my friend. Thanks for the great work you put in. First time catching your live. All right. Thank you, my friend, for your comment and for joining the live. I hope to see you in more lives. But let's get back to the news and let's talk about the big bombshell today, which is that Ilkay Gundogan has agreed to leave Barcelona. Now, all of this started after Ilkay Gundogan was excluded from the squad list against Valencia due to that injury that he received in the Jan Gamper friendly match against Monaco, where he cut his eye. And after that, the rumors starting to fly, saying that the reason Gundogan was excluded was because Barcelona were trying to offload him. But of course, Barcelona denied that. Hansi Flick denied that. And even Ilkay Gundogan's entourage denied that, saying that no, he wasn't excluded because he was about to leave. He was simply excluded because that cut that he got to his eyebrow, which caused a lot of blood, it also caused them some headaches and dizziness during training. But nonetheless, yesterday, some sources in England, which I talked about in a previous video, started to report that supposedly Gundogan had spoken to some of his teammates from Manchester City and had told them that he regretted leaving and that he wanted to go back to the Premier League club. Well, I did not get confirmation of that, whether that's true or not. I don't think so. I think Gundogan really pushed to come to Barcelona. I don't see why he would regret the move. But nonetheless, the news today is that Gundogan has agreed to leave the club. Now, why has Gundogan agreed to do this? It's because the club for the entire summer were kind of leaking to the media that even though they appreciate Gundogan, even though they think he's a wonderful midfielder that has added a lot to the team, they still wouldn't mind him leaving because of his high salary. His salary is around 15 million euros gross. So 15 million euros off the wage bill would go a long way in helping Barcelona register players. And also because he does play in a position that's pretty much overpopulated, which is the attacking midfield position. We have Gavi, Pedri, Fermin Lopez, now Dani Olmo, Pablo Torre. We have plenty of options for that position. So given that so many players there, Gundogan's high salary, Gundogan's age of 34 years old, the club continued to leak throughout the summer that they would be okay with him leaving, even though they do appreciate him. And as a result of all these leaks by the club, Gundogan has now decided that if the club wants him to leave, that he's okay leaving. Because, as his entourage has put it, because Gundogan is a professional, he doesn't want to cause problems for Barcelona. He doesn't want to cause problems for anyone. He's very happy here. He would prefer to stay here. But if the club asks him, if Barcelona say, hey, Gundogan, we love you, but we need you to leave because we can't pay you, then Gundogan will have no problem of leaving. Now, the only condition that Ilkay Gundogan puts on this is that it has to be a convincing offer. Now, what does a convincing offer mean? Well, Barcelona are reportedly willing to even let Gundogan leave for free. They know he made an effort to come to Barcelona. He arrived for free, so they're okay with him leaving for free. Because at the end of the day, the money that they get to take off their wage bill by not paying his salary is going to be more than what any club could offer Barcelona for a 34-year-old. So Barcelona are okay with him leaving for free. However, Gundogan, even though, again, he doesn't want to cause any problems, and if the club asks him to leave, he would leave, he only wants to go to a club that's competitive. In other words, no Saudi Arabia. He's not ready to retire yet. It'll be more like maybe Premier League, maybe Turkey, but definitely not Saudi. So that's the news today. Gundogan happy at Barcelona, wants to stay at Barcelona, but if Barcelona asks him to leave, he will agree because he doesn't want to cause any problems for the club. Barcelona are open to him leaving for free, but Gundogan, of course, even though he's okay leaving, he's not going to just leave to any club. He's not going to go to Saudi, US, whatever. He wants to go to a competitive club because he believes he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and then we will talk about Vitor Roque. All right, let's see. Jabba the Hutt says, we always hear about Barca trying to force players out like Gundo, Rafinha. Why do we not hear the club trying to force Ferran Torres out? I think I've said this a million times, so I'll say it again. Nobody wants Ferran. You cannot force a player to leave if nobody else wants him. Richard says, Mo, the GOAT, is it true that Olmo is getting impatient and annoyed with not being registered? If so, what does that say about our horrific planning? It is not true. Olmo was told what the situation was before he came. Plus, he's not physically ready. He's still not, back in competitive rhythm. So even if he was registered, he still would not be playing. So no, there's no truth to that. And some random MF says, hi, Mo, just got a chance. Oh, wait, I think I already... I already read that one. Okay. Best in the game says, to be honest, Gundogan and Roque leaving isn't too much of a problem for me. Although Gundogan was our most consistent player last season, he will be missed. For sure, like I said, it'd be a big loss for the team because he's a great midfielder. But as far as the club, it would be a huge relief because he does have a big salary. And, removing his salary off the wage bill could easily register Olmo and maybe even another player. All right. Gorav says, but Mo, do you think Gundo fits into the high pressing style of Flick? 2 old players up top who can't press, this won't work. I mean, it worked under Pep Guardiola, so I don't see why it wouldn't work under Flick. And Tredo Pal says, why is Barca still playing with the same away kit for the 2 seasons now, almost 3? That's the Señera. That's the official. That jersey's never going to go. That jersey's been around for years, and it's going to be around for years. It's, it's not a seasonal jersey. It's simply something that Barcelona uses as a tribute to Catalonia because it's pretty much the Catalan flag. All right. KF says, Mo, my bro, I hope you and your family doing well. Have you heard anything about Chiesa? I saw some from Diario Sport, like always, free Palestine. Thank you, my friend. From Chiesa, nothing yet. He's still, he's trying to force his way out of Juventus. Juventus are saying, look, if you don't renew and if you don't leave, you're going to be in the stands. You're not even on the bench, in the stands. So they're trying to get rid of him unless he renews, of course. He is an option for Barcelona because he wouldn't cost much. But are Barcelona consider him right now? No. Could they consider him in a few days? Maybe. But right now, there's no actual interest by Barcelona. And we do the last comment before heading back to the news. But Zach Urban says, ladies and gentlemen, Gundogan, a true professional, one of the few players worthy of the Barca shirt, would accept to leave quietly to help us financially, unlike Ferran. 100% agree with you, my friend. That's absolute class. I didn't expect anything less from Ilkay Gundogan. Again, he wants to stay. He's happy in Barcelona, both the club and the city. And despite that, he's willing to leave a club he's happy at. He's willing to leave a city that he's happy at, as long as, Barcelona, it doesn't cause problems for Barcelona, which is not even his club. Gundogan has only been here 1 season. It's not like he came up through the academy and he's been here his whole career. No, he has absolutely no obligation to do that, but yet he is offering to do that. So an absolute class, ladies and gentlemen, Ilkay Gundogan. All right, let's get back to the news and let's talk about Vitor Roque because the Brazilian player has reportedly greenlit a move to Sporting CP. Now, Roque has already made his peace that his future lies somewhere else. Barcelona have been very clear with him. You are not going to be counted on. In fact, they haven't even registered him as a first-team player. And as such, Roque is now knows that he has no future in Barcelona. He has agreed to leave. And Andre Curie today met with Deco in order to discuss, the options of Roque. He does have multiple clubs interested in him. But, of course, Barcelona do want 30 to 35 million euros for Roque because they paid 30 million fixed. So they want to recoup that investment. And that, of course, is a problem because even though there's plenty of clubs interested in Roque, not many of them, or if any of them, are willing to pay that much. Now, Sporting CP are very, very, very interested in Vitor Roque. They have been in contact with the player to try to convince him that they have, an attractive project. And it looks like Roque has been swayed. And he has agreed that, yes, it is an attractive project. And as such, he has given the green light for his agent Andre Curie to negotiate a move from Barcelona to Sporting CP. Now, reportedly, Sporting CP are willing to offer Barcelona 25 million euros fixed plus some 5 million euros variable, so not the full 30 that Barcelona want, 25. And despite this, there's still an option in La Liga, and that option is Real Betis. Real Betis are also heavily interested in Vitor Roque. In fact, a delegation from Real Betis flew to Barcelona today. They met with Vitor Roque, and they're trying to convince him that their project is more attractive than that of Sporting CP. Now, what's the problem? Problem is Real Betis cannot afford to pay the transfer fee. They can only afford a loan plus an option to buy worth 15 million euros. So that of course, is way below the asking price of Barcelona. Barcelona, most likely are going to reject that. But for now, Real Betis are only talking with the player because, of course, first you have to convince the player before you approach the club. Otherwise, what's the point of negotiating with the club? And then the player says, I don't even want to go to your club. What the hell's going on? So anyways, that's the news. Roque thinks the Sporting CP is an attractive project. They're willing to offer 25 plus 5. And Real Betis swooping in last minute, trying to convince Vitor Roque to join their project instead. But they're only willing to offer a loan with an option to buy worth 15 million euros. We'll see where he ends up. Of course, at the end of the day, the decision is going to be in his hands. We'll see whether Barcelona cave. Let's say if Roque does say, oh, I want Real Betis. We'll see Barcelona would cave to that because, again, 15 million is half of what Barcelona want. But Barcelona are also in desperate need to offload as many players as possible before the end of the summer transfer market because they still have to register other players. For example, Dani Olmo, who they just spent 55 million euros on his signing. All right, let's do more comments. Big Barca says, why is Barca signing players they know they are going to negatively affect the wage bill? Because you have to sign players. There's no way around it. Forrest Bray says, hey, Mo, watching from Nigeria. Greetings to you. Have been Barca fans since 2005, and it's good to see my fellow Barca fans. Visca Barca. Visca Barca, my friend, and thank you for your comment. And my man Ross says, question, Mo, so if we get some money for Gundo, wouldn't it be the money we get plus his salary off the books? Yes, absolutely. So if we get money from him, it will be the 15 million that his salary off the books plus however much, whoever club pays us, that would also go into account as far as the financial fair play. Let's see. Isaac says, if it is a tribute hearsay to Catalan, then I think it needs a better design because that design really makes my eyes hurt. I mean, it's literally the Catalan flag. So I don't know how much more you can change. And one more comment, but says, feels bad man says, Gundogan signed 2-year contract with Barca, which means he leaves this year anyway, next year. Why are you people freaking out? This guy is 33. He was an emergency signing. Anyway, I don't think he was an emergency signing, but I mean, I don't think people are freaking out. It's just, it would be a loss. Nobody's like, oh my God, but it would definitely be a loss. All right, let's see. Prince says, I love Gundo, but he always slows the game down a bit too much, and he can't press that much. I don't think he slows down the game much. The problem last season is that our players were too static, right? And that was a big, big problem, and it's something I talked about over and over again, whether it be in a post-match analysis or during podcasts. I always talked about, those lack of mechanisms where when you have mechanized movement or automatic passes, you have one player with the ball and everyone else immediately knows where to go. They know where to run, how to get open. So that player with the ball knows exactly where he can put the ball in what area because he knows someone's going to be there without having to look up, right? Like, for example, when Xavi would get the ball, Xavi Hernandez, when he was a player, Iniesta was already in his position. Sergio Busquets was in his position. Messi was in position. So as soon as Iniesta would get the ball, he knew exactly where to pass it to, because he knew that there's going to be someone there that's going to be open, right? He didn't even have to look up to see. That's what's called mechanized movement, right? It's just automatic. You don't have to think about it. That was non-existent under Xavi's team. Non-existent. So what happened is our midfielders would get the ball, and then they would put their head up, and they would look around, and nobody was open. So they're just standing there waiting for someone to get open, and by then, it's too late, right? Modern football is split seconds. And if you have to stop, put your head up, it's over. The window's closed. You can't pass that ball. So that's why our movement of the ball was slow. And that, of course, reflected badly on whom? Our midfielders, who are responsible of circulating the ball. So that's why Gundogan a lot of times seemed like he was slow. That's why a lot of times Frankie seemed like he was just hogging the ball. And it's because there was nobody open. So who were they going to pass the ball to? So they would just run around in circles or make a side pass or make a back pass. And that had a lot to do with Xavi's system, which was pretty much non-existent. It was just go on there on the field and just improvise and let's hope for the best. Stifiso says, we have to accept that Deco is useless. He brought Roque, who's a fraud, can't buy players we need and can't sell the deadlogs we have. Laporta needs to leave for administering this horror show. I don't fully agree with you. I mean, we don't know if Roque is a fraud. The guy just arrived. He's been given 5 minutes of playtime, and everybody now wants to label him as a fraud. Which just it's reflection of just today's modern day football, right? People are just so impatient. They want immediate results, which it's highly, highly unrealistic, right? They're already saying that about Endrick. And Endrick literally just landed in Madrid and has played like one match, and people are already calling him a fraud. Let's not forget Vinicius Jr. took him 2 seasons to fully develop, and now he's arguably one of the best wingers in the world. It takes time. But people are impatient. So we don't know that Vitor Roque is a fraud. He was given a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and that's it. People want to label him as a fraud. As far as offloading players, I mean, it's a process, right? That was a problem last summer. That was a problem the summer before. It's been a problem every summer, whether it was Deco or whether it was Alemany. If the players don't want to leave, there's not much you can do. So Barca Mama says, hey, Mo, watching from Kansas. Is there any kind of accountability to Deco or others for poor signings such as Roque? I mean, I hope, but we'll see. That's going to depend on Laporta. And Brennan says, hey, Mo, watching from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. My question is, how come we have been hearing all season about returning to the 1-1 rule yet? We still have registration issues because we were told that with the closing of the Barca Vision deal, we were returned to the 1-1. Turned out that was not true. Even with that deal, we still need to close the other 60 million of the Barca Vision, which is not going to come till months later, as Barcelona are still trying to negotiate that part of the deal. Or if we close the Nike deal, which again, it's not going to happen till a few more months later, as Barcelona are still negotiating the fee with Nike. All right, let's do the last bit of news and then we'll do more comments, I promise. But let's talk about Clément Lenglet, because the French defender is not ruling out staying in Barcelona. Yes, you heard that correctly. Unlike Ilkay Gundogan, who's a gentleman, this clown wants to force his way out of Barcelona. And what's happening is, I told you about how Atletico Madrid are highly interested in Lenglet. El Cholo Simeone has greenlit the operation. He wants Lenglet on his team. He needs to reinforce his defensive line after the loss of Mario Hermoso and Savic. And well, it looks like Atletico Madrid think that Lenglet would be a good addition. Why? I have no idea. But that's their problem, not ours. Now, Atletico Madrid, the negotiations with Atletico Madrid have stalled. And the reason why is because Atletico Madrid are not offering what Barcelona were hoping for Lenglet. And Atletico Madrid are a very tough negotiator. And as such, now the negotiations have stalled. Now, Lenglet really wants to go to Atletico Madrid. That's his choice. He also had an offer from Villarreal, but that offer has pretty much cooled off, or that interest has cooled off, because Lenglet wants Atletico Madrid only. There was a lot of interest from Saudi Arabia, but Lenglet also rejected all those offers. So he only wants to go to Atletico Madrid. And as such, he's willing to force his way out of Barcelona to make this happen. Pretty much extort Barcelona. His position is that he's willing to wait until the final seconds of the market for Barcelona to agree to Atletico, because they know Barcelona are desperate to offload him. His salary is 18 million euros a year gross. So Barcelona need to get the salary off their books. And as such, he's willing to just stay put and just force Barcelona to agree whatever offer Atletico Madrid make. And if both clubs don't end up agreeing, Lenglet is even willing to stay. He knows he's not going to get a single minute. He knows Flick doesn't count on him. He knows the club doesn't count on him. But he's like, you either send me to Atletico or I have no problem staying here another year, earning 18 million euros a year. I don't care about not getting a single minute. Your play. So now Barcelona are currently in a very tough spot where they need to offload Lenglet. They're desperate to offload Lenglet, but he only wants to go to Atletico, and as such, that puts the ball in Atletico's court, or favors Atletico, because now Atletico can offer whatever the hell they want, and Barcelona are only faced with two options: accept a low ball offer or be stuck with a player that you desperately need to offload because you don't count on, and he has an incredibly high salary thanks to Bartomeu, who renewed him right before he resigned. So here you go, gentlemen. For someone said Deco this, Deco that. When you have, shitty people like this on your team, what can you do, right? Umtiti did this to us for many seasons, where he just kept saying, okay, you don't want to play me? That's fine. I'll just stay on the bench and I'll keep, earning millions. So, unfortunately, not everybody is as decent as Gundogan. Some people are, Lenglet. All right, let's do the comment section. All right, let's see. Where did we leave off? Ricardo says, the team under Flick looks worse when Gundogan plays. It's the same with Germany. It didn't work. We saw Gundogan once under Flick, and it was during a preseason. How can you come up to that conclusion? I'm not sure, but feels bad, man. Says Gundogan impact last year in Barcelona wasn't that impressive, to be fair. I mean, he was our best midfielder, and if that's not impressive, I don't know what is. Not the Gamer says, Gundo was so underrated. Why are we letting him go? Financial fair play, high salary, advanced age, lots of players to cover that position. That's what the reasons behind the club. Let's see what else. Ashimiru says, watching live from Ghana. All right, Ghana is always in the house. And Ross says, I saw Tottenham are one of the top 5 money-making football clubs in the world, practically and only due to their amazing stadium concerts. Do you think the new stadium will serve us like that? Absolutely. That was part of the whole plan with the Espai Barca. It wasn't just to renovate the stadium and make it look better, but also to increase the revenues, because the concert will also the stadium is also going to host concerts. There's a lot of event space, so you can rent that out for events. There's obviously the VIP boxes that have been improved and added. There's the VIP areas. So all in all, it's not only going to generate more money because it's going to have a higher capacity, it's also going to generate more money from all the what they call the hospitality, which is, VIP boxes, VIP areas, conference rooms, events, spaces that you can rent out. And plus, there will be concerts at the stadium. Let's see. Ricardo says, oh, this is the same. Can you please stop spamming or I'm going to have to block you? Barca says, Vitor Roque, stay and sell that garbage, Ferran Torres. Again, I've said this a million times. You cannot sell a player that nobody wants. Isa says, hi, Mo. Are we okay about what is going on in the transfer window? I mean, I'm not sure what your question is. I mean, are we happy with the transfer market? I think had we only signed a left winger, I would have been fine with the market. Well, Pau Victor, I think it was a huge signing, even though it only cost us $3 million. That was a big signing. And we just need a left winger. I don't understand a Dani Olmo signing. We did not need Dani Olmo. We definitely did not need to spend $55 million on his signing. And I don't know. So am I happy with the transfer market? The transfer market ends like the way it is right now. I'm fine with it. Am I super excited? No, because I would have wanted a left winger. Am I happy with the signing of Pau Victor? Sure. Now, if we can finish offloading, Lenglet, Roque, Mika Fai, then that's also going to be a big win because we're going to clear a lot of space on our wage bill, and that's going to help a lot with our finances. Nana says, we still have Ferran Torres here, not contributing nothing to this team yet. Okay. I cannot keep repeating the same thing. You cannot sell a player that nobody wants to buy. Dune says, hey, Mo, watching from the Bahamas, can we just terminate Lenglet's contract? We could, but then we would have to pay him 2 years of salary. You can't just terminate contracts. You would have to pay what you owe. So Lenglet has a contract until 2026. You terminate his contract, you have to pay him his whole 2024, 2025 salary and 2025, 2026 salary. So that's 2 salaries or 2 years worth of salaries, maybe even the bonuses and the variables as well. All right, let's see. Damilola says, when I see how Barca forces players to leave the club, I don't pity the club when players like Lenglet stand their ground. At the end of the day, it's business, not a charity. I mean, you don't have to pity it, but you can still criticize it. Fitzroy says, hey, Mo, can't we just leave the young on the bench indefinitely and force them to leave? Other clubs do this to players they don't want. Why can't we? I mean, technically we could. Technically we could put them on the stand and say, look, you're not going to play a single minute until you renew or you leave. I would do it, honestly. I mean, look, Juventus are doing it with Chiesa, and Chiesa was incredibly important for them. So I would totally do it with Frankie, because I think that what Frankie's doing at this point is just outright disrespect. The club have sent him multiple offers. They've been calling him and contacting him for months from the beginning of the year. And he doesn't even have the decency to pick up the phone and say, hey, no, I'm not interested. Or yes, I'm interested. Or maybe let's renegotiate. I don't like the offer you sent me. So at this point, I would totally do it with Frankie, especially since we have so many midfielders. I would totally be like, look, you either renew or you leave. But until you do either one, you're staying on the stands indefinitely. Not even the bench, on the stands. You're just going to be watching the matches from the stands or from the comfort of your house. McBarca says, Barca summer so far, disabled Olmo, Nico, baby please, Deco holding Ansu in a chokehold, Laporta capping, Ansu bullied out of Barca, Barca adding beating child labor rumors, Lenglet winning anyway. I mean, it's not disabled Olmo. He just came back from vacation. All players need some time to get back into rhythm. Nico, what can we say? The guy doesn't want to come. You can't put a gun to his head. As far as Ansu, he wasn't forced out. The guy keeps getting injured. So he was told, look, we can't have you. So anyways. As far as Lenglet, honestly, at this point, I don't care what Barca accept for him. Even if they accept 2 million euros, let's just get him out. I don't think Barca should play chicken with Atletico Madrid. I don't think Barca should be playing with fire. I think we need to get Lenglet off the books. We need him out. We needed him out many seasons ago. And at this point, I don't care if Atletico Madrid offer us 2 chickens and a cow. I'll take it. Just take him away, please. KF says, Mo, one thing I haven't seen nothing about or debate on, how La Liga let the destruction go on. Barto had a vision to destroy the club. I wonder that all the time as well, because every time Laporta wants to do something, he has to jump through all kinds of hoops and obstacles and all this red tape, because supposedly Tebas wants to protect Barcelona. But where was he when Bartomeu was running the club to the ground? Anyways. And last comment by Emil says, watch it from Denmark. The only problem we have at the club is the summer, is the lies about the economy. Think all real culé would be fine with no signing. All right. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. I will be uploading another video in about an hour. There's more news, believe it or not. But thank you guys for your comments, your likes, subscription. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Visca Barça.